you today can be adjusted for flexibility or individual geometry. Example, the rule of thumb is that you are as tall from fingertip to fingertip, like this is my height, right? So when I'm doing poses on the mat, I am taking the length of certain body parts and that's the distance, right? So the easy way to do that is to measure out on the mat. With that being said, my torso is really long compared to my short little walking sticks, right? So normally with such short legs, I might have to shorten the stance of where I will show you to put your feet on the mat. But because I'm flexible, I can do a longer distance. So what I'm saying is what I show you today is a basic guideline for your personal height and geometry on the mat. And you might have to adjust it a little bit, but I've taught for 20 years and I came up with this a long time ago, and it's pretty consistent. I use painter's tape on my mat. You can use another kind of tape to do this, but painter's tape is just enough sticky for you to practice for a while so that you can get an idea where really good placement is, and then take it off. If you put duct tape or some other kinds of tape on there, you're liable to either pull some surface off your mat or and damage your mat in some way, or have residue and stuff. So I generally use just maybe a really light, good painter's tape so that it's not like ripping my mat apart. So disclaimer, if you've got a cheap mat, even sometimes painter's tape will do it. So don't like stick it in too hard if you've got a cheap mat. So how do we measure out? So I will be moving this video back and forth and holding the camera so you can see. I should have got my little stabilizers, but you'll just have to deal with the herky-jerkiness of it. All right. So how I tell students to measure and teachers in my teacher training to measure out on the mat. The first thing that I will do is I will get them to lay down in airplane arms, dead center of their mat. Usually I'm here to help them with this, but this is your stance, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to have yourself or a friend take a little piece of tape for one arm, and I'm going to put it about where my wrist was, and then I'll lay my, oh, that's too far. This is so much easier if you have a second person. I usually do this in teacher training, so, or in a class. So right about where my wrist is. And then I'm going to take another one and I'm going to lay it right about where my forearm is. I guess I could have rolled over, huh? Would have made it easier. Never did this by myself. All right, there we go, mid forearm, and then elbow. All right, and a little crease in my elbow. All right, and then we're going to do this on the other side. So make sure that I haven't scooped over any. And like, this is probably why I didn't roll in the first place. So watch, when I roll, it kind of shoots my arm further this way. So be really conscious of that. All right, so mark it at the wrist and then make sure your wrist slid back into that direction, all right? All right, mid forearm. And increase in my elbow. All right. So I'm going to kind of straighten these out a little bit just so that they look nice and level. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these on both ends. All right. So what I tell students to do on both ends is to now take a piece of tape. Try to go over the whole thing. Go straight across. This is really, sorry. Probably I'll speed this part up or clip it out. Who knows? All right. So I'm going all the way across the mat at these lines, just because this will help me throughout my practice. And I'll show you if I get done with this. I'm usually fairly quick. All right. Okay. And also, if you have like a little marker that you can write on the tape so that you can remember what we're doing with this, it's really nice too. All right. And then on what the tail end of, I like to smooth it out with my yoga block. On the tail end of my mat, so this is the back of my mat, I'm going to take the block dead center, and I am going to mark along the lines, and I'll show you in just a second of that. And then I'm going to measure the width of my chest with the blocks. You can do it, you can lay down and do it if you really want to. So you can lay down, kind of notice where your shoulders are on either side and do the little two ticks. You want to be where the arm bone plugs in with your shoulder. So it's like out here on the deltoids. It's not like in here. So this is way out here with the outer deltoids, right? And you're going to create some lines here. You know, lots of tape on the mat, right? But this is going to help you in the long run so that you kind of get a guesstimation. All right. So let's bring this over here now so you can see what this looks like. So you can see the little grid on the mat. You can see that the front one is a little wider at the top because that accounts for my hands and my shoulders. And then this one accounts for the inner width of my hips, right? All right, so let's go. Not to mess the video up too much, Mary. All right, so what am I doing with this? Why have I done this? So this is the rule. If I was to lay down, generally, your feet will be on this middle line, okay? And so when I would lay down here and put the ball of my feet on this middle line, and then my hands back here on this middle line, look at that. That's a perfect chaturanga into that down dog, right? And so this is about your alignment. So my heels are starting to extend down. Now my feet are a little wide on this mat because I didn't set that dead center. I should have moved that over a little bit. Anyway, so my feet are just to the outside of the blue lines at the back side. The ball of my feet and the ball of my hands tend to stay on this middle line unless I'm going to show you a difference. So down dog, plank, chaturanga, cobras, these are all done from these middle lines, okay? So let's talk about the different postures. So we have a set of yoga postures in our classes that are foundational postures. So it's postures that you will repeatedly do, just like down dog, plank, and chaturanga, all right? So the basic rules of this is when you're doing warrior one, standard triangle, which is a shorter distance in your triangle, and your lunges, you will be ball of the foot on that center line. Notice how the heel of my foot is hitting that back line, right? Yeah, kind of cool, huh? That is your crescent lunge, your warrior one, right? So now warrior one, the toes angle in. So you're going to come at an angle across, and I'm going to bring all of this over so you can see it in just a second. I'll do a little video, right? So now I'm at an angle on that middle line, all right? Triangle, now I'm flat on that middle line, so heel to heel alignment, right? Ball of the foot, ball of the foot. So this is a placement of distance between your feet. Well, what are the other lines for? The other lines are ball of the foot on the top one, ball of the foot on the middle one, heel extending back to this very far one is our furthest pose. This is our warriors. So I've got ball of the foot on the front one, ball of the foot on the middle one, and heel on the back one, right? And you can also do your extended triangles in that stance, reverse warriors from that stance. So what are the small ones for? So the small distance for this tends to be ball of the foot still on the middle line, but this time ball of the foot will come to that closest line so that we can do Egyptians, revolving triangles, poses like that that need a little Eastern stretch, a little bit shorter stance. So let me bring the camera over here so you can see what the feet look like actually on the mat. All right, so actually on the mat, aerial view. So my my feet when I am doing crescent lunge is on that middle ball of the foot. This is the ball of the foot on that middle line, and ball of the foot on the middle line back there. See it, see it, see it. All right. When I'm doing warrior, it's a cross section. Can you see that? All right. When I'm doing triangle, I'm still on the center, right? Now, when I'm doing warrior 2, it's a longer step because my hips are open to the side and my heel is really angling and rooting back some. But I'm still got toe on that center line. Also, here we go with our Egyptian or our revolving triangle, right? So that's the stance of the feet. Same thing goes throughout class. If you are doing stretches like pigeon toes, right? And so ball of the foot here, ball of the foot here. I'm bringing the knee up. Look, you get nice now. I can turn it down. Yes. So this is general alignment. The more open you are, you might be able to extend a little bit more in some of these poses, or you might have to shorten your stance a little bit. But this will be based on your personal geometry and will help you kind of center up. Another thing, why did I put these vertical lines where they are? So these kind of give you a cross section for the ball of the foot whenever you're turning the foot to the side or turning it forward. But this is also the distance between your feet. And this is where we're lining up distance between the index fingers or middle finger, right? So this is essentially shoulder distance apart when I put the ball of my hand and my middle or my index finger on that space. Here we go. You see that? And so that I prefer to have students do middle finger just simply because their elbows tend to splay out, and this kind of helps them bring it in. If you're hypermobile, do middle finger though, right? And so this is about the placement of the hands. Look how far my pinky fingers are extending to the side. I'm taking up a lot of my mat. And when I'm in down dog, or even like when I'm standing in mountain pose, I've got that big toe mound right about there, and that's about 4 inches. So hopefully that gives you guys a really kind of clunky video of how to do this. So remember, middle lines are really your baselines, right? The wider, the longer the pose, then you'll start moving out from there. I will hopefully be able to do some more tutorials based on this, where I'll keep my mat and do some classes where I'll keep my mat taped like this, and I can give you some direction on how to do some yoga poses. So thank you very much. And I have to say thank you to Natural Chaos and Kim. I started following your, I don't have any makeup on today. I've been doing that micro needling. Thank you for posting your videos. Much appreciated, girlfriend. You guys have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, put it in the tutorial or in the links and comments. Please subscribe. Let your friends know we're out here, and hope to see you soon. Bye.